Okay, well, I know I'm preaching to the choir here because we got a lot of good storytellers in here. In fact, some of your stories are way out there. No, I'm just kidding. But stories are wonderful, and I have had a lot of fun with Storied.com. We've got here visiting the Wings from Santa Quin, right? Are you in Santa Quin?
Nephi.
Oh, you're from all the way from Nephi. They have published their book already, so they've been through the whole process. I have not quite been through the whole process yet. My book is not in a physical condition, but these are two that were sent to us by Storied.com as samples. So you, as we're talking, you can take a look. They're all 6x9. This is the size of the book, and that's the only format that we offer. They offer up to 200 pages. This has 122 pages, and it's about that thick. How many does yours have?
170, 167.
167.
Oh, no, I lied. 178.
178. This one's only 70 pages. So these aren't full.
That's a password for Alma.
Alma.
Alma 30, 37, 38, no cap.
Alma.
37, 38.
No cap.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Actually, I thought we had it written up there one time, but it's not. So anyway, take a look at these as they come around. This one is an actual recipe book. They made a new format. So right here on the home page, it has the family recipe format. You can do a recipe book, which is really fun. I know my wife Pam would enjoy that a lot. But there are limitations to this. But I'm just going to go through and show you what you can do with it. And then we're going to get the Wings up here to explain their experience with the whole process through printing. So let me start here with the fact that Storied is a beta program. Everybody knows what beta means. It means it's not perfect yet. They're still working about it. So the Alma, that wasn't quite right, was it? Password? Did you get on, Sister Wing?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay. So beta means that there are imperfections, and believe me, I found plenty of imperfections in this program, but the overall concept is so great that I really like it. And I've talked to the developers several times to give them inputs about how they could make this better. Well, let me just show you the home page here. You got they're featuring the recipe option here, but over here to the right, everything's integrated with Family Search. So when you first start out, you link it to your Family Search page, and of course it will not pull in. It'll pull in your whole family tree of deceased persons. It will not pull in your living people. And so that's one limitation, is that you have to re-put in your living people, because many of my stories were done by my brothers and sisters. So they're living and I had to re-put them in. But you can see over here that I already have some hints just from the people that you made stories on. I already have some hints from relatives. This is my deceased brother and a great-great-grandmother. It also ties into newspaper archives, which Rose is going to talk to us about next week, I think, right? She has a class on all the different sources of newspapers. This one is specific to newspaper archives because Storied owns newspaper archives. So it found some of the people in my tree. It found some matches, 2 newspaper matches for Ella. Well, that's not my Ella, so I already looked at that. And 3 for Rada, that is my Rada, and 3 for Connie. So it gives you some ideas about some historical information that's out there on your family. So the left-hand column here is just the menus. And I want to go through the menus real quick with you and just give you an idea. First of all, if we click on My Stories, you're going to see that a little snapshot of all of my stories, just a short little snapshot. I've got 145 stories in there already, but they're divided up. These drafts, 32 of them are drafts that were pulled in from Family Search memories into my account here. And when you first sign up, it will pull in any stories you have in memories. It pulled all of them in. It pulled about 102 of them in from my memories, and I didn't want all those as drafts. So I deleted most of them, but I left 32 that I think I want to work with for a book, for a printed book. And then it has 15 categories that you can divide your stories into. I wish these categories were customizable because for example, I'm doing this book that I'm doing right now is all poems. I have over 100 poems that family members have written, and we're doing a book of poems. Well, so I would make one of these categories, if it was customizable, I would make it poems instead of achievements. But I didn't get the choice to choose to customize my categories. So you can see they've got achievements, relationships, memories, education, military, and sports. Those are the categories that I've got stories in. I've got 1 story in sports, 8 in military, 1 in education, etc. And 100 poems right there. These are other categories that I haven't used yet. Challenges, health, immigration, religion, recipes. So you can choose whatever category so that you can more quickly get to them. So right now, if I chose my relationships, I've got 3 stories in relationships. This is my placeholder for the book I'm going to write on my daughter, Katie, who died 2.5 years ago. And I've been able to have my other daughters and my wife put their stories in the same category, and we collaborate. So we can write a book together. That's one of the really powerful things of it. Hi. Welcome. So you can quickly divide them up into categories. Now, achievements is my poems, and so there's 100 of them here. And one of the drawbacks, or one of the limitations thus far, is I've got 100 poems here, but I can't do any kind of a filter to find the specific poem that I'm looking for. I just have to scroll to find it. And they're working on making that searchable, but it's not there yet. So that's what the story is on the left-hand margin. You get to all my stories. The next one is my scrapbook. And what that does is it pulls in any photo or PDF from your memories in Family Search, so that you can use those and have access to those for writing your stories. And as you can see, it's got lots of them, but it duplicates a lot of them, which is another beta bug that they're going to work out. And then it has my family tree. They're going to come talk to us about the integration of stories with the family tree next month in July. The actual people from Storied are coming to help us understand this part better. I haven't used this much except to add my living children who wrote some of the poems that I'm trying to put in my book. Then we have groups. So I've got a group here that is, well, it's going to show me my groups here. I've got a group that I shared with the King family, and I made one up tonight for Payson just to show you how you can do groups. So if I were to write a story, or I did write a story, and if I wanted Christy to write a story for this book, I would give to her membership in the Payson group, And I would say, okay, Christy, anything you add now can come into the Payson group and be part of this book. And she could be living in Washington, DC, and I could be here. And we could still collaborate on this because she could add her pieces to it. So right now, in the Payson group here, we've only got the one story, but we could have any one of you. We could make this all of us part of the Payson group, and each one of you could add stories to our
with-
group.
With this group, are you thinking like we should add stories of things that have happened to us in family? I mean, are you giving it just anything people want to?
I'm just doing it as an example. I don't know. It's just an idea. So like with my daughters, I've got a group that we can all add stories about their sister, Katie, and that kind of thing. So
If you do a group, you can have, different people, you can decide the topic that you're going to put the stories into.
Okay.
Create a book between you, and realizing that when you share a book, a story with another person, you are not able to edit theirs, and they're not able to edit yours.
right.
So if you have, if you see something that's an error, you need to communicate, through email or whatever you do, or text and stuff, to let them know what needs to be fixed, so that the book looks good when you get done. But, yeah,
Yeah, and you can actually, here's my daughter's group, the Wickerettes. There are several stories in here. This one was done by my daughter, Tara. And if I had a comment about it, I would just go down here and say, hey, I'd add a comment and say, hey, you misspelled understanding, fix that. These comments aren't going to show in the book. This is just for collaboration back and forth. So we wouldn't even have to send an email. I'd just send a comment here, and she would say, hey, there's been new activity in your story. She'd go look at it and make any corrections that I might add. So that's the group thing, and it's a great collaboration. We are really trying to write this book on my daughter. She had Treacher-Collins syndrome, and as you can see, she doesn't have any ears. She breathed through a trach, and she was a very special girl. And we want to write her story because it's a pretty special story. But I can't do it alone. I need my daughters to help me. So that's what that's all about, those groups. It's got historical record search, which is interesting. So I just for fun this morning typed in my own name here, and just to see what it came up with. And I didn't put a year or a place or anything, and I just hit search, and I think there were like 10,000 results on my name alone. And I'm even in the Social Security death index, and I'm still alive. So that's not me though. But anyway, so it's got a lot of things. Now, if I did, just like in family search, I mean, in newspapers, if I did narrow it down, of course, I'd get something useful. And then the newspaper search is very similar for newspapers and obituaries. And I did the same thing this morning. And I narrowed it down, and it came up with the article in Wichita Falls, Texas, of my promotion to captain in the Air Force. I never even knew there was an article about that. So it was kind of fun. So you can see lots of good things.
Question.
Yes.
So from what I understood at Red Roots Tech, Storied has their own newspaper.
Yes.
And it's separate from Ancestry.
Yes. And that's what Rose is going to teach us about. There's like how many, Rose? Probably 6 or 7 newspaper sources. Yeah. And they're all different. You find different results from all of them.
What I like about this one,
Mhm.
the newspapers they have on here, most of my parents in the United States are from small little towns.
Yeah.
Kansas, Minnesota,
Mhm.
Wisconsin, and I put their last name And I get all these.
Yeah, like so-and-so visited so-and-so on Saturday evening for dinner.
Johnny's truck was blown off during a tornado. That's my uncle. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is fun when they get those little stories. So what I want to show you mostly, oh, and this is when you're ready to print your book, you go down to print. There, you don't have to pay anything to write your stories on here, but you do have to pay if you're going to print a book, of course. So none of my daughters have paid a cent, but they just had to create their account in Storied.com to collaborate with me on this book about Katie. And it's very, very, very useful that way. So I'm going to show you a story that I just made this afternoon. My aunt is turning 100 years old in 2 weeks. And so we're making a little video for her. So I asked all my brothers and sisters to share an experience with my aunt. And this was what one of my brothers sent in. He sent it by text and I copied and pasted it into here. But you want to have some sort of a picture. If you notice on the books, every story begins with a picture on the left-hand side. Now you better get past the images. The picture on the left, and then the story on the right. So here's another limitation to think about. If your story is going to go over one page, then it's going to use the left-hand side here, which means no picture can go here. But it also means if you use page 3, you're going to have a blank page 4 because they don't start a new story on the right-hand side. So this is a blank page 4 right here, and there are lots of.
If your story goes long enough for both pages, then it's fine.
Yeah, then it's fine, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I don't know, did you have any trouble with
I've
that?
asked them to put some kind of a marker or a
Right.
line that shows us when we're.
Where the page-
moving on to a second or third
Yeah.
page, so that we would know to either lengthen it or shorten it if
Yes.
we wanted to, rather than have a sentence left over
Yeah,
for the other page.
to ruin the whole page.
And they're working on a lot of things,
Yeah, remember the beta idea. They are really helpful though, when you go through your preview before you actually print. Like today, I had my preview session for my poem via Zoom. And I found a couple of pages that just had one line on the page. And I asked him to fix it so that that orphan line went back to the previous page, and I don't end up with so many blank pages. So that's a good option. So yeah, I'm trying to make it so that if I end up with a blank page, I'm having to insert another poem there so that I don't have blank pages. Every book also had, you choose the cover picture and you choose the title and everything, and where it goes, you can put it at the top, in the middle, or at the bottom, in the middle, or at the top. You can have the picture be a full page like this, or like Marlon's, hold yours up. The cover is just a half of the cover. So those are the options there. Every book has a little explanation in the front about some of the things that can happen. So I want to show you one interesting thing here. Let's see. I don't know if I can find it. Well, I don't know if I'll see one right off the bat. But when you open your story, the picture that's going to be on the left-hand page is up at the top here. And then the story itself, and then over on the right, you can have sources or links to other places, like links to a picture on Google or links to a PDF or anything like that. It tells you what all the symbols mean in the very first for the reader of the book. And they have QR codes throughout. So this QR code at the bottom here, you would scan and it would allow you to order this book from them. But each story has its own QR code as well in the bottom. And if you scan that, it will take you to the online story and you'll be able to see it online. Along with all the attachments. The attachments do not go into the book, but they can be scanned and it will take you. So you're not going to see this source printed in the book. But if you scanned the QR code, it's going to take you to the electronic version, and then you'll see this source and you'll be able to click on the link and it will take you to further information. In this case, it's just the original poem, so it's nothing different. But in many cases, it can be something completely different that isn't in the book.
And with those barcodes, you can also continue to add to your family sheets, put them into your memories, both sound things or
Yes,
they're gonna try to get videos on them, hope they do something. But other things that you can put on there that if then later someone hits the barcode on here and I found more things about my dad, they can be able to access that information.
yeah, very good. So it's really a good concept, and they're really working hard to get rid of the bugs, but it's fun. It's fun to do. It's a lot of work though. How many days or weeks or months did you spend on yours?
We don't even count.
Okay, we don't even count.
We're retired and I've made a goal this year that I've got probably 6,000 or plus pictures in my house and that are actual pictures that are 6 generations worth of pictures that need stories that I'm probably the only one that knows the stories.
Hmm.
So I've got to do some work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to show you this story that I got from my brother today. He did not send me a picture. So it's about when his aunt spanked him for hitting his daughter, her daughter, his cousin, in the head with a croquet mallet accidentally. So how did I get this picture? Well, I went out and used AI. So if you go to copilot.microsoft.com, there's lots of AI plays, but copilot.microsoft.com is a good place to do it. I like it. And I just said down here in the Ask Me Anything block, I said, picture of girl hit in head with croquet mallet. And it says, okay, I'm going to try to create that for you. And it takes it a couple of seconds and it creates, oh, it wants me to sign in. Well, I don't like to do that because I can't ever remember my sign in for Microsoft because I don't use it very much. Oh, I can't even remember what it is. Anyway, it came up with 4 options for me, and you can see the 4 different options that it came up with on your handout there. And some of them look like the mallet's going through her head. And some of them look like baseball bats. This was the only one that looked like a croquet mallet, but it looked like the end of the mallet and the stick
Do
were
they charge you for
separate.
that?
No, completely free. And
No,
I've used that a lot. I'll show you a couple of other AI pictures that I use that are pretty fun. So I have a poem here called Time or something about time. And I told it to show me a picture of a pilot in the air daydreaming about the meaning of life. And this is what it came up with. And I liked it. So I put it in for my poem about time. So I've had a lot of fun with that. I have pictures for most everything, but every once in a while, there's a poem that,
sometimes it's something you just don't have a picture of.
yeah. So I'm going to show you how to create a story real quick. So here at we're on the home page. We've got tell a story. I click on that. The first thing it wants me to do is add a photo, audio, or PDF.
I found one thing that's really easier, if you decide to use Story Assist, say you've got a picture that you don't know very much about. You go into that, like you were.
Okay.
See down there where it says Story Assist,
Yes,
if you add the picture and then you title and everything, and then you go to Story Assist, it puts it out as a draft, and then you have to write it and then re-add it and do different things.
okay,
But if you go to Story Assist first, say you know the picture you're going to write about, write your story in there, and you just have to put 5 or 6 sentences to get you started. And it will write your story, and then you can, making sure that you reread your story, because sometimes.
yeah, it comes up with weird things.
Something totally different. And so you have to make sure it fits, but sometimes it's really fun. But then after you've done the Story Assist, then you can add the other things easier. But
Okay.
that's only if you're gonna use Story Assist.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried Story Assist several times and it just isn't me. But let's try this. Let's say we're gonna be happy. And I'm the narrator and I'm gonna tell a story about I crashed my car. And then I want you to add some details. It was a 1963 Chevy Bel Air. And I was only 16 years old. And my girlfriend was with me. No, except I totaled my dad's car. Okay, so I'm just gonna say that much. And then, well, and it's gonna make up a story for me. I don't use this. But it says, I crashed my 1963 Chevy Bel Air when I was only 16 years old, but surprisingly, it turned out to be a happy ending. My girlfriend was with me at the time and we were both scared and shaken out, but thankfully we walked away without a scratch. So see, so far it's true. Despite the damage to my beloved car, we were grateful to be safe and unharmed. The accident brought us even closer. So see, it just writes the story for you. And then you can edit it here. If I didn't like what it said, I can edit it however I want.
And then you can go out from there and
Mhm.
add your picture to it.
Yeah, so you can upload new media. And let's go see, I don't know if on this computer there's even any pictures. There's a picture. So I could add that as the media. Looks like a photo genealogy line. Put a title in it. My story, where you were, and it'll come up with the county and the state, and then put a date, 1972. And then you hit next. And it wants to know who's the author, and it's going to pull the author, it's going to try to pull the author from your tree. So since I'm in my own tree, I can do that. And then it wants to know who else was in the story. Well, my dad was, because I wrecked his car. So I'll put him in there. And then I'm going to have to use one of these categories to keep it separated from my other stories, because I'm not, like I'm writing a book on Katie, I'm writing a poem book, and I'm going to write a book on my military career. So I've got 3 different categories going. This one isn't about any of those. So I'll just say it's challenges. Okay, then I hit next. And it wants to know if I want to put this in any of my groups that I'm collaborating with. Well, I've got 4 groups. You're my group, so I'm going to put it in the Payson. And then it asks me if I want to make this link public or private. If it's private, it's only going to be available to, the link is only going to be available to the Payson group. If it's public, anybody who has the link will be able to get to it. So I'm going to leave it as public because when I publish my book, I want anybody who read this book to be able to get to the electronic version of my story. So I'm going to leave it as public. Hit done. When it saves it, and then you're going to get this little thumbnail of what the story looks like when you go back to your stories. It's going to be the latest one here, just a little thumbnail. But it's also going to show that now there is now one story in the category of challenges right here. And that's, so if I click on that to sort through, there should only be one there. I've noticed this is another bug. For some reason, none of these other stories are under challenges, so they shouldn't be there. And this tells me that there's only one, but it comes up with a few others. So I go back into it and look what I get over here. I get this new option, which isn't going to show up in the printed book. It'll only show up online, and that's where I'm going to link a YouTube video that I made. You talked about videos. This is how I do videos. You can have your own YouTube channel, have your video, get the link to it, and you'd say, video of my car crash. And then I just put in the link here. Just copy and paste it from YouTube. Actually, it's YouTube. Anyway, put that in there. Now, when somebody comes from the book, they see the little QR code for the story down here, and they scan it with their phone. It will take them to this page, and they can read the story, but they're going to see also, oh, look, there's a video of the car crash right here. Not that I took a video of the car crash, but I can go look at a video, and it'll come up with the link, and they can click on it, and now they can see the video. But of course, that wasn't a real link. It just took me to YouTube in general. So I like that option, and I've done that many times.
Can you link it to videos that you take on your camera?
Yeah, yeah, because what you do is in your YouTube channel, your personal YouTube channel, you upload that camera video, and it creates a link for you, and you stick it in here. And you
do
can
that? Okay.
you can also
That's
do
something else.
you can also do the same thing on memories and family search. You can put a YouTube link in a story in family search, and look, it doesn't create a link like this does. See, this actually creates a link you can click on. In family search, you have to copy and paste the link into your browser. But that's how you can do videos. So notice that I can still edit this source without editing the story. And I can go put in some other notes and say the car was blue. Or I can put anything in here. And this, and like she said, you can update this later. And it's going to be, the book's already been printed. But now
Anytime you read across them.
you get back to it.
Want to add to that purpose.
Yep. So any questions about how to create a story?
That's all I have to delete one.
How to what? Delete one?
Delete that one. Just
I don't know how to delete it.
you pull it up. And
Okay.
then you go up to edit. And it's right there, down,
Oh,
there you go.
okay.
That will delete the story.
Okay, good.
And it will delete it for good, so you have to be real careful.
Yeah. So I can't think of too many instances where I'd want to delete a story that I went to that much effort to put in here.
I've had a couple.
Have you? Okay. You didn't just want to edit it?
For some reason, I would find that I had written 2 times, and I don't know whether I duplicated it. It
Oh,
would duplicate, you know.
oh,
But
this,
be careful, because if it's a duplicate in there and it's exactly the same, if you delete one, it'll delete both of them.
well, that,
So be real careful with that.
that was a bug in their program.
So I found sometimes if I have to and I can't seem to get rid of it, then I will rename the one that I
Yeah.
want to delete and then delete
Yeah.
that one.
Okay,
Makes it a different story.
yeah, they definitely still have bugs. Okay, so that's how fun it is. So, and you can have there's no limit to how many stories you can have in here. So what I did here is I went through all my files, and every time I saw my family was a prolific poem writers. I had more than 100 poems, but I had to choose them. And I spent a lot of time on this, but it's been really rewarding. And found pictures to go with most of them. And where I didn't have a picture, I went and made a picture with AI. So this was my daughter wrote, and I told AI what I wanted, and it came up with, I told it what needed to be in the toy box there. You know, had to have an airplane, had to have dinosaurs, had to have cars, and a little girl. So it worked out good. So that's kind of the overview of how you do it.
Other things, I try to write a story or two every week. And when it originally brings over your story, all your stories,
Yeah.
if you write new ones, it doesn't bring over. That's.
Oh,
Okay, so.
yeah.
Is it Karen?
Yeah, Karen Cross,
Yeah. So now what I do is I put it in memories, and then I go right to
the story.
the story and.
And Adam. Okay, good. So what I did was I went to the print at the very bottom here, print storied books. And you get one free book. It tells me my free book has been redeemed. One free book for every year subscription that you get. And then you can purchase additional books as you need to. But when you get started, and I can't get started because I already redeemed it. But when you get started, it'll tell you, it'll walk you through the process. But I do want to show you what the preview looks like, because I just went through that in the last couple of days. And it was a whole new experience for me. Let me get to my own Gmail here. Jordan, here we go. Okay, so Jordan sent me my preview. And when I opened it, he didn't send me the cover page. So what I did was I went to the, yeah, because there were so many problems with it. But, I went to this to look at the cover, and I found that I had put the title of the cover up at the top because there's a picture of a man at the bottom, and the software, their automated software, had dropped my title down here, and I said, I don't want my title down here, I want it up here. So he worked with me, but I went through a whole bunch of things. I spent an hour with him today making changes because their system is not completely automated yet, and they're doing a lot of hand work. And so I was very dissatisfied that, for example, if you can see this, whoops, not comment, where is my plus? No, not that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I want to show you something that a preview will help prevent. So it goes from, in my table of contents, it jumps from page 94 to page 103 and then back to page 95. And I thought, why are they doing this? And I found out that it's because it's not a computer making this table of contents, it's an intern that works for them. So I told them that was completely unacceptable, and they went back and they're fixing that. Does your table of contents look pretty straight?
Mine's fine.
Yours is good. See, I don't know why they did this. Then on the index at the very end, there's the index was not alphabetized. So for example, they have both an index of names and an index of places. So W's start the index. They misspelled my name, even though it's spelled correctly in what I submitted. And then it goes from W's to C's, then back to R's, then back to W's. It's not alphabetized. So I said, this is crazy. Why? And then they also index places. So they started with Payson, and then jumped to Grand Junction, and then back to Bowers Beach and Centerville. So I had to go over with them and tell them that. So I don't know how, if you, that is weird. They must have had a new intern that didn't know what he was doing. So, but how did you catch any mistakes before you printed?
I didn't.
Didn't?
There are a couple in here, but I just
So you didn't have a Zoom
I
session?
figure even books you buy in the store sometimes have spelling errors or something.
Yeah, that's true,
But-
but you didn't get a Zoom session with one of the guys?
I went up and had a session talking about the experiences I had with it, but I did not, they said they were gonna send me one, but they never did,
Oh, okay.
but.
Well,
I ordered it and 2 weeks later it's in my hand.
yeah, I would definitely,
It's fast and you need to realize that they are a new company. And if
Yeah,
you have a problem, you do need to speak to them
yeah.
and they'll do what they can to fix it.
But don't you think the concept is great to be able to put together a book like that? So fast. And the deal at Roots Tech was $99 for a year, which included 1 free book. Plus access to newspaper archives. And of course, if you're just gonna write stories, you don't even have to have that. And you can share your stories online with anybody, just by sending them the,
Now beware if you do your grandchildren, make sure that their parents. If they want to keep it private, they can keep it private and you give it to them as a gift for Christmas or whatever, but at least it's written and the stories are there.
Yeah.
But you know, some people don't care if it's out there and other people do.
so, all I'd have to do to share this is put them into a group and put them into the Wickerettes group. And they would be invited to look at that story. Put this story into that group and add those people to that group to allow them to see it. So that's about all I've got. I would like the Wings to come up and share us their experience. And if you could come here, we're recording this and there's a microphone in this right here.
Can you buy extra books
Yes,
same year?
yes, you
You
can.
can buy.
Can I, is there any way I can hit my computer with that one?
It'd be better if you just logged on to Storied up here.
I don't have, do you know my story? They can help.
Here, I'll log out.
It'd be interesting for you to see some of the different, there, I've been having a difficult time today because I scroll down all my stories. And all at once it'll say refresh, or refresh, start to scroll down, refresh, and it just keeps doing that. So I've called them. I mean, I've got messages to them so that they're working on that problem. And so they're trying to help it for me. But this is a book that I put together for my grandparents. And I'm the only one that I know of that has all the stories like this. My sisters have some, and I'm sure they could add that they didn't want to have, not everybody in the town is either, that they want to be. But this was really fun because I was able to put in stories of like my grandfather, who served in World War I, and he was in the Battle of the Argonne Forest, so I was able to tell how he came up on the missing in action list, and how the family felt about it at home, and how he had crawled into a cave and prepared himself to die, and he had been shot in the leg and gassed, and that particular battle was one of the last ones fought in the war. And it was a real push. 26,000 soldiers died during that war, during that battle. And he was hiding in the cave. And the other people, because the war ended, some of the soldiers were able to come back through that area. And they found him in the cave and brought him home on a Red Cross ship. But these are things that, it's really interesting. One of the things on the story assist, I love this one for the story assist. This is my grandmother. She always wore a hat everywhere she went. It was a civic duty to have a hat on top. And so I was writing this in story assist because I didn't know a lot, but I took the things she did in her life that were civic duties that were listed in her obituary. And it came out with a really cool story. My mother Hazel was a woman on a mission. She was involved in numerous civic affairs and always made sure she looked the best while doing so. With her signature hat, her elegantly on her head, she was a familiar face in the community events. That's the story started that helped me get that story going. And then it ended with wearing her hat like a crown. She was able to make a strong impact wherever she went. My mother was amazing. So it's just fun little things that you can do. There's, this one is, my dad had got hit, he was in an accident. When he was 7 years old, hit by a school bus. And I've got pictures of him on his crutches when he first came home from the hospital. He was in the hospital for, a couple of months, 16 days. He didn't know anybody. And I was able to put this information in the book. And also there's one here that they were going to this picture, I had to send all over, because I don't know how to use the stories, the AI thing yet. But this one, I needed a picture of a snake, but every snake I found was with somebody holding it, that didn't look like anyone in the bed. So I took the picture of the snake, and I got the big long snake there. But this goes very well with my story, because it says, I knew Mother and Hen were carrying the picnic things across the bridge one day. When they were about halfway across, here comes Rollins, my brother, with the snake in his hand. He was whirling it over his head, yelling, "Hey, looky what I got." Our dinner just about ended up in the river, and the ladies dropped the picnic things. Rollins just kept walking toward them, rolling the snake until Dad could have stopped him. There's things that you can put in that are just fun. And I wrote this book as if my dad were speaking. Okay, so I put it in as much as I could. I put it into his voice so that it comes across in the stories that he does. And when I was telling my sister about some of them, she's going, "I've never heard that. Are you making that up?" Nope, these are stories that Dad told me. And I spent time, from the time I was 20, I was out taking pictures around, old pictures that were under my dad's bed that he didn't know who they were. And I was taking around all the 80 and 90-year-olds in town to see if I could get names on them, which I got names on over 3-4 of the pictures. So, okay. This one, I'm starting to put together a story of my granddaughter, and you can see she likes the hive and racing, and I don't have these in order. They're just there, and so I've got all the stories, and I thought I've got enough for a book right now, but I want to put the first 2 or 3 years in one book, and then 4 or 5. You know what I mean? I want them a little bit more in order, so I've got to figure out how to get those moved around. And that's one thing that I wish we could move the pictures from one place to another and kind of line them up so we can see if we've got them all. But then that's only if you're linear. If you're doing stories at random, it doesn't matter. But we've got pictures of us taking her to the park and doing different things. Now, you notice some of these stories don't have any writing. I put them all in as pictures first with the name on it, the title, and now I'm just going through and writing the stories, and I don't have to stop to get the pictures off and to do all these. This is one that my son helped write. Isabel Jepson Richards is learning from her father and see, I haven't edited everything yet. How to be a couch potato. What you can't see is Isabel looking at her small tablet while watching Disney on television. There's nothing better than sitting back and doing nothing with your dad. And then I thought, well, how do I add to this story? Because I want them to be worth the print. So I went in and looked at the definition for couch potatoes online and got some ideas. Isabel, do you know what a couch potato is? It's someone who is lazy, laying around and watching television most of the day. Usually it is accompanied by junk food, treats, and a drink. Everything you need so you do not have to get up to get anything. They chose the word potato because a potato has eyes to watch television. Potatoes do not move, and they grow roots that keep them planted in their seat, couch, or floor, wherever they are planted. It's a good thing that both you and your dad really do get a lot of exercise before becoming a couch potato each day. So I'm just doing some fun things like that. But I've also, if you look at my stories, quite a few of these are my granddaughter. But then I've also got another granddaughter that I'm doing stories for.
You noticed on her last story that she had 2 photos in the top. Depending on the sizes of the photos, you can get two.
Yeah, and it'll show you that you have 2, and so we get 2 related ones. This one was her at the county fair where she was playing riding a bull, and then she was also playing in soap suds. And I want to connect a picture of her riding the bull, and I mean a video.
Soap suds.
So there's just lots of different things, and then I've got, when you come down further.
Now, what categories are you using?
I'll show you that in just a second. This one was my sister. And that's my problem that I'm having today.
That's interesting. I've never seen that.
I haven't either, but I don't know if I don't know what's happened, but anyway. Oh, it actually brought it back to this, and usually it
And I
takes
don't
me
know
back
if-
to the
I
beginning.
don't know if you're scrolling down too fast because it takes time to load the pictures.
Yeah, sometimes you see this
You know,
where the
you think that-
picture's not showing correctly. You can, when they do the print, they must fix them because mine haven't had that problem in the book. But you can reset it here. And then it will be reset there. So you can do that. So yeah, I wanted to show you.
Mhm.
What I found that of all the pictures most of the pictures that I used in this book have found their way down to the bottom of my pictures. I've already done those, and I don't open them up very often, and they just kind of just slide down to the bottom. And so I've got most of Isabel's on the top. I've got, and you can see I have a lot of her. I'm 70. She's 4. Chances are I will not be here when she gets married or whatever. I want to have a couple of books wrapped up
I mean, up
in
there.
paper for her to open at her wedding. That's just what I want to have. And so, you can think of some things that are fun and just doable. Okay,
There
it won't let me
say,
show you
there it
down.
goes again.
It won't let me show
It
you,
keeps refreshing for some.
but
reason.
they will fix that, I'm sure.
I know.
But okay,
And I
this,
I'm still wondering if it's the pictures loading.
you can see I have
Oh, that's
140
nice.
stories. I mean,
It's
420
not
stories, excuse me, said that wrong. So then I also have, but if I go to drafts, these are the ones that have been pulled from Family Search, and I have written some of those so that they've changed over to not being drafts. Some of these, if it's like I've got one that's a grandmother that I would like to take, a great grandmother that I would like to take and have it tell her story, but tell the things that she does in a day. She does candle making. Well, how was that done back then? I want to write a little bit about it. She does quilting. How was it done back then? And kind of do some things like that with the histories. These are pictures of myself. I put mine in the memories. Achievements, this is my other granddaughter that I'm writing her story. And beware that if you're writing, you will receive inspiration. And you will get ideas of what to write about. This is what I wanted. This little girl belongs to my daughter who passed away. She's a stepdaughter. So we have had many years without having her in the family. And she came and asked if I had pictures of her when she was little. So you asked for pictures when you were small, pictures of what you were like back when you visited our house with Mama Becca. Instead, I'm giving you pictures and stories. Stories of the past help to lighten my heart and let me know that I'm part of something bigger than myself. I woke up one morning with a poem for her. When Mama Janet and Mama Becca met, they became true friends, serving one another brought great dividends. Mama Becca was hurting from having no offspring. Mama Janet fixed that hurt with her greatest offering. She offered to share the love she had with you and let you share your love with Becca too. Because of Kaylin, of whom both are so fond, Janet and Becca shared motherhood and created a bond. So one day a little girl came to our house, and she's not very big. She's quiet as a mouse. She came in and threw her love all over the place. Boy, did she put a smile on her face. Her singing and dancing and cute bits of art filled an empty space we had in our hearts. Grandma and Grandpa Wing and all of their kin opened their hearts and let Kaylin in. And so anyway, that poem was in my head when I woke up. Took me about a half an hour to put together on paper. And I know that if you're writing the stories that people need, that you will receive revelation of what to put on those stories and how to create them. I have these are my two grandsons, and I'm just going to put their pictures together in a book because they're a year apart and they are brothers. So and this is the Kaylin that they were with, but and then this one is one of my other granddaughters that I'm just putting together. So just starting when I see her pictures, because I don't have as many as her.
Thank you very much.
But that kind of,
Can we pass around your book and let people look at it?
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm grateful for the Wings for coming and sharing their experience. They're one step ahead of me. They've got a published book. Mine will be done in 2 weeks. So.
I'm vlogging you out of
No, that's all
everywhere
right.
too.
Oh, yeah. Don't love this.
I was clearing all your top.
Does anybody have any questions or comments that we can help with before we close? It's fun. It's fun. It's a great concept. I like it better than some of the other self-publishing options out there because of the collaboration, because of the quality of the book, and the option to preview and edit so you don't end up with mistakes that you didn't see before it was printed. So thank you for coming. It was,
If you want to write books, it's actually one of the least expensive
yes.
as far as getting them published. The book I had was free because I had a subscription, but to get a new one, it's $37 and something for me to get one, or $49 for somebody else to get one if they refund our funds.
If you don't have the
Yeah.
subscription, yeah, it's a little bit more.
So,
So I think that's all we have for you, unless anybody has any.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And thanks.
I'm hoping they get the video part, so we can make a little video so that she can then see the video.
Oh, there was no picture of it.
Yeah, there was. I saw it in there.
There was? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll show you. Oh, wait a minute, where's my, I gotta stop this thing. Oh, there it is. Okay, so.
There were several in uniform, but you just went by them too fast, but.
Where is my end meeting? Yeah. Stop recording.